They work here, or they
competition winners mostly. These are people that used My Revolution to give their reasons for coming down tonight.
Thank you. Is this work? Oh yeah, that feels good. Who won a competition then? Thank you for doing that. Thank you for participating. Who works at Twitter? Who is a journalist? I'll never tell you anyway. It's like having to admit you're racist. I'm a bit racist.
So we were going to start tonight with talking about revolution. It's the obvious place to be, and I think it would be great for. There's a lot of people in the room. In fact, everyone in the room has a copy of the book now. Real bricks. Everyone has a copy of the book now, but most people in the room will have picked it up for the first time today.
Honestly.
They would have held it for the first time. So touched it for the first time. Caressed, some might say. So I thought it would be great to start with one of your favourite pieces from the book, or something that felt good to read in the room.
All right, yeah, I'll do that. It's nice here, is it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Like this is where you work. You work here in charge of the entertainment. Right. It's interesting. It's good. You've not been here too long, have you? What was the atmosphere like? Were you milling about in the room and then you sat down in preparation for this bit?
Sadly, if you put chairs down, people will always sit straight away.
That's an interesting experiment. Like, I read about some experiment where there was a room where smoke was slowly put under the door, but people were told, oh, don't worry, it's safe. And like, people just would stay there. I mean, all of us think as individuals, we would go, well, I wouldn't. But apparently we all would.
Just to be clear, there is no smoke.
I'm not suggesting that we recreate it. All right. So you think start with a reading?
I'd love to.
Book. Has anyone read any book yet? Any books ever? Oh no, I don't like to waste my time reading books.
A lot of listening.
Yeah. Has anyone read any of this book yet?
I think you had
a minute ago.
You read a bit like just now?
Yeah.
What, just start at the beginning, or did you just pick up a bit arbitrarily?
To the chapter that said something about infinite space.
Infinite space, oh yeah, I think that's a good bit.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah. What is that bit, infinite space? It's good when you write a book. It's a lot of typing. You have to do 2,000 words a day, really, to feel like you're cracking on. You have to eliminate all other options. If there's anything else you could be doing instead of writing a book, you'll do that thing. That means Wi-Fi's got to go. Yeah, people that laugh. That was a tacit admission. Okay, infinite. I'll just look at that infinite space just because it just sounds like an interesting bit to do. I am an anarchist. This big bit's not easy. Spin on monarch within you, without you. That's quite a good bit. All right, I'll read a funny, silly bit, 109, and then I'll. This is a suggestion, right? You know, any of you that saw, I did a TV show in America for a while called Brand X. It was mad. It was really mad. And on it once, I had the Westbury Baptist Church on. They're then people to turn up at funerals and sort of say stuff like God hates fags.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that in the Bible. That's really an interpretive liberty, I think, to sort of like to look at the Bible and then go, well, I think he hates fags. Because there's no bit in there where like it doesn't at any point explicitly or even like subtly or metaphorically go, I, God, as well as all the creative stuff, you know, creatures great and small, all of that stuff, hate fags. It's like it's an interesting interpretation. Anyway, I spoke to them on that TV show, and that was a sort of a highlight of it. I met the reason I mention it now is because I met this bloke Matt Stoller, who's the little brother of Nick Stoller, who directed Get to the Greek and Sarah Marshall and that film recently, Bad Neighbours. He's a good film director. And like his little brother Matt is sort of like kind of an intelligent, wonkish guy. And I met him. I went to that Occupy thing, like sort of like the Wall Street one, and I met him there. And he told me sort of really quickly why the Occupy movement was important. He said, he goes, normally protest movements can't get traction because protest movements are funded often by private funds and those in turn are owned by corporations or private donors, so there's always a place where leverage can be applied. The reason Occupy is successful is because there's no position to apply pressure from, because it's a disparate group of laterally organised individuals. I thought, I like how this person talks, so I became friends with him, kidnapped him, made him be on my TV show, which he wasn't qualified to do or particularly good at, but was forced to do nonetheless. And I asked, when I wrote the book, I goes, Jim, give us a couple of ideas that would be good for, you know, like if you were going to overthrow the government, if you're going to have a revolution, what would you do? Some people forward for it, like, you know, some people gave clear examples of direct democracy or cooperatives, you know, real things that have like a great deal of administrative clarity. Or David Graeber with his debt cancellation, like that we should cancel debt, personal and private debt, as opposed to financial and corporate debt, which happens all the time, you know. But Matt's things were like evil mind game ideas. He's like, one of them's really cool. I'll read it to you because I think you'll like it. So, like, the first idea we came up was cancel private security, which was tough for me because I sometimes have private security to stop me getting beaten up after a show or something, or during a show when I was younger and on drugs. I'd sometimes have to have a fight during the show. It's like challenging to do that. That's why now I can be sort of quite confident in an environment like this. Oh, these people are a bit quiet. But I think, but what's not happening is someone's not stabbing me with a broken glass. Like anything that's not being stabbed with a broken glass, I sort of think, well, I've had worse. So the first idea we had was like get rid of private security. So that in America, for example, there are more people hired to do private security than there are school teachers, and rich people use private security to defend their interests, right? So he said if you didn't have people defending their interests, then you'd have to live in a more equal society. His second idea, no offence, mate, because I'm imagining you're doing private security. And let me tell you, as it fucking kicked off, you're the direction I'll be running in. I'll be leaping in your inside pocket. Carry me home, burly protector. His second idea was really funny as well. So his first idea was that one, get rid of private security, alright? So let's have a look at what the second idea was. Given that Matt's first suggestion has brought about a terrifying free-for-all and likely reignited the war between India and Pakistan, because like I talked about this bit when I was in India, I was curious to see what else he had up his sleeve, what else he had up the sleeve of his Harvard blazer. Yes, he did go to Harvard, the bloody hypocrite. His next idea to create a different world was equally cunning and revolutionary. Get rid of all titles. Mr. President, Ambassador, Admiral, Senator, The Honourable, Your Honour, Captain, Doctor. These are all titles that capitalism relies on to justify treating some people better than other people. And that was Matt talking there. Matt is an American, so when it comes to deferring to the entitled, let's face it, he's an amateur compared to the British. Look at me, simpering to Professor Slingerland, who I interviewed earlier in the book, whenever he's mentioned. I can't wait to prostrate myself before his sceptre of diplomas. I'm a right little lick-spittle sneak down the doctors and all. Yes, doctor, no, doctor, please don't let me die, doctor. Charge what you must, doctor. Stick your finger where you fancy, doctor. Plus, in our country, England, we've got a bloody royal family. What's Matt going to say about that? This is Matt again. One of the most remarkable things you learn when you work in a position of political influence is just how much titles separate the wealthy and the politicians from citizens. Ordinary people will use a title before addressing someone, and that immediately makes that ordinary person a supplicant and the titled one a person of influence. Or if both have titles, then there's upper class solidarity. Rank, hierarchy, these are designed to create a structure whereby power is shaped in the very act of greeting someone. I'm getting angry again. Matt's right. Titles are part of the invisible architecture of our social structure. I'm never using one again. If I ever see that Professor Slingerland in the street, I shall alert him by hollering, "Oi, fuckface!" then throw a hazelnut at him, because he talks about this hazelnut experiment. What does Matt propose? And this is back to Matt. One thing you can do to negate this power is to be firm but respectful and address anyone and everyone by their last name. Mr., Ms. or Mrs. is all the title you should ever need. This allows you to treat everyone as your equal, and it shows everyone that they should treat you as their equal. Right, fair enough. I went in a bit hard there on old Teddy Slingerland, or just Mr. Slingerland, according to Matt's polite revolution. His suggestion of equal titles for all of us is provocative, particularly those of us who live in monarchies. I mean, in England, we have a queen, for fuck's sake, a queen. We have to call her things like Your Majesty, like she's all majestic, like an eagle or a mountain. She's just a person, a little old lady in a shiny hat that we paid for. Or, Your Highness, what the fuck is that? What, she's high up above us at the top of a class pyramid on a shelf of money with her own face on it? We should be calling her, according to Matt, Mrs. Windsor. In fact, that's not even her real name. They changed it in the war to distract us from the inconvenient fact that they were as German as the enemy that teenage boys were being encouraged, conscripted actually, to die fighting. Her actual name is Mrs. Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. Mrs. Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. No wonder they fucking changed it. It's the most German thing I've ever heard. She might as well have been called Mrs. Bratwurst Kraut Nazi. Titles have got to go. I'm not calling her Your Highness or Your Majesty just so we can pretend there isn't and hasn't always been an international cabal of rich landowners flitting merrily across the globe, getting us all to kill each other a couple of times a decade. From now on, she's Frau Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. Come on, Frau Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. It's time for you to have breakfast with her Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, and you can make it yourselves. And by the way, we're nicking this fucking great castle you've been dossing in and giving it to 100 poor families. Actually, you can stay if you want, they'll need a cleaner. You'll have to watch your lip though, here Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. Some of them ain't white. So there you go, there's a little dig at Prince Philip, who we happen to know is casually racist.